Yes guys, and welcome to the Cardiff vs Sunderland match review. And as you can tell by the smile on my face, I have remembered what it feels like to win a game of football. It's absolutely beautiful. You can't beat it. It was almost like a feeling that you just totally forget, considering we didn't get a win in 7. It's a pretty long stretch of time and you do tend to forget how good it actually feels. And now we get to go into the Easter weekend. I don't know how you guys celebrate it, whether you celebrate it or not, or whether you just use it as an excuse to eat an ungodly amount of chocolate, like myself. You can do it with a bit less guilt and a bit more freedom, a bit more happiness, because the lads, the Red and White Wizards, have got away with a 2-0 win against Cardiff. But yeah, absolutely buzzing. I'm really, really happy with that. More so just to stop the drought. If we just kept on getting the odd draw and loss, and we're just scraping the barrel for positives like last time, but prior to the game against Cardiff, when we did pick up the draw, we did stop the losing streak. It wasn't great to watch either way. And it was just absolutely scraping the barrel as a positive that we just didn't get beat. So for us to go away from home against Cardiff, who are a very good side, by the way, and ultimately after this game I've been trying to decide as to whether they were just really shit or we were really good, and I think it's probably a bit of both. But I'm definitely going to give a lot of credit to our lads and to Dodds as well for the victory. But going into the game, like I said, Cardiff, I know they got beat last time out prior to us against Swansea, but before that I think they were unbeaten in 5. They were beating teams left, right and centre. They looked really dangerous. And I'll be totally honest, I was expecting another defeat. I really was. But getting into the game, we did have Pato in goal. O'Neill finally rejoined Ballard in the back 2. And across the back 4 as a whole on the left, we had Styles starting ahead of Yelda, who I was quite surprised about. But Styles did start. On the right side we had Troy Hume. Then in the middle we had Ekwa and Dan Neil. On the right wing we had Rigg. When I first saw it on the team sheet, I did think, yes, finally, Rigg's getting another start. However, I also knew that Dodds likes to play him as a right winger, which he isn't for me. I know a lot of people, again, I keep saying this, a lot of people like to say that he's a 10. For me, he's just a straight up centre mid. He can do box to box, he can get forward. Yes, he has that attacking, progressive side of his game, but generally I feel as though he'd be better utilised in the centre of midfield. But however, he did not look out of place at all, and he actually had a very good game. So I will get into that later on as well. And then behind the strikers, should I say, we had Al-Shish, Job up top, and on the left-hand side we had Abdullah Bar. Now, getting into the game, the opening sort of 2-3 minutes, it looked like it was going to sway in Cardiff's favour. Bowler on the right-hand side up against Styles. He's done Styles a good 2-3 times in the opening few moments, and I thought, shit, if they're going to, if we're going to concede, it's going to start off down that side, because he was doing rings round Styles a good 2 or 3 times. But then we started to grow into the game. You can start to see our shape. Our press was absolutely fantastic. I mean, and I always say that it's unrealistic to expect a team to press and give a decent press from minute 0 to 90th minute. It's unrealistic to expect that to have such a high press. But our shape and our press combined was absolutely outstanding. And what I mean by that, I don't mean just everyone was just sort of man-to-man, everyone just throwing themselves at the ball. It was calculated, and it was clever, and it was intelligent in which we were doing. As soon as a ball would pass onto one player, say for example, they'd pass it from centre back to right back, Job would leave it, and then Bar would push on. It sounds simple, but that's just something we haven't even been nearly seeing in recent weeks. And we did literally do that from minute 0 to 90. It was man-to-man marking, man-to-man pressing, and it worked so well. They couldn't carve out an opportunity to save their lives. They couldn't, because they couldn't get through us. Like I said, opening a few moments, both had a couple of runs at Styles. But other than that, I can't remember them making an opportunity. And then we do get a better look at the draw. Job, it's a little bit controversial. I've seen a few different arguments against this, as to whether it was a penalty or not. But then we were forcing them into errors a good maybe 5-6 times in that first half in particular. They were passing the ball straight to us. It was a very slippery pitch. Defenders were slipping all over the shot. And because the weather was piss poor, it was absolutely pissing it down there in Cardiff. But we nicked it off him. Job, anyway, he drags across the box, takes on his man, he's got pulling across, and don't get me wrong, it's right in front of the referee, so you can see why he's giving it, right in front of the referee. He's got his hand on Job's back, and Job has gone down dramatically, but he is going at pace, and he may have fallen over or not, regardless, because he has put his hand on his back, and when you're running at such momentum, you could easily go over. But yeah, I can see why people say it does look soft. It probably was, but that's what happens when you've got 2 Cardiff players going at Job who's trying to run at you, and you put your hand on his back and he goes to the ground. You're always asking the question, aren't you, whether it's going to be a penalty or not. But either way, Adil Al-Shi steps up, and it's a rocket of a penalty. Very Barini-esque. and I love to see it. You know, our Sheesh last time out. What's mad for me is our Sheesh was getting a lot of the plaudits last time out when we drew, and it was for all the wrong reasons for me. Because our Sheesh is known as this, or it should be, this more creative attacking outlet. But last time out, for me, he was so good because of his defensive work rate, and he was almost a leader amongst peasants. Because everyone else, they seemed like the down tools, and he was just running at play like there's no tomorrow. And you don't associate, but when you see players do that, that's when you are so appreciative of it. And he was doing that yesterday as well against Cardiff, as well as looking creative and threatening on the ball. We very quickly had another chance after the penalty. After that was tucked away, Abdullah Bar, who I don't want to try and dampen what's a really positive display in general, but I need to be totally brutally honest, as I always am. I will never just say everyone's amazing just because we won. Abdullah Bar was probably the only weak link. I'll be totally honest. Several times when we were breaking loads of players up, he would slow the play down. He'd allow Cardiff to track back, refuse to pass the obvious pass, and he'd either lose it or he'd just make the wrong option. He got the ball on the left-hand side. He had an opportunity to cut in on his right if he wanted to. Al-Shish was arriving late. He would have tapped it in. There was other players in the box who could have tried to give it there, but he tried to give the keeper the eyes and took it in the near post, and it is saved, but it was an easy save for the keeper to make. It was just a wrong choice, and he was doing that time and time again and slowing us down, I found anyway. But yeah, so we made it 2-0. Anyway, we made it 2-0, and this time it was Jobe Bellingham. After some brilliant work down the right-hand side by Adil Al-Shish, he fizzes it across goal, and Jobe is there, right place, right time. And I've seen the argument on Twitter, with this, and a lot of people are saying, or some people anyway, have said, that with any other striker on the pitch, that wouldn't have gone in because they wouldn't have made that run. Yeah, it was a very basic run. He just put his body in the 6-yard box, the ball's been put in there. And they've also said that essentially means that the argument that our balls into the box and our deliveries have been poor, that means that that's abolished now. That wasn't true. It's just because we had the wrong strikers. I do disagree with that massively, because when we have had strikers on the pitch, be it Hamia, Burstow, Rusin, crosses, even when they have taken up similar positions to Jobe did yesterday, the balls and the crosses have been absolutely atrocious. So just because Jobe has scored a goal from 3 yards out, I don't want to immediately just say like the wingers or crosses have been faultless. Do you know what I mean? I think that would be a bit too simple. But it was a good ball. It was a good goal. Very well worked goal. And it was good to see. It was almost like the Sunderland of old. As soon as we realised, shit, we do have some technically gifted players here, we start to play some good football. And I keep on saying, even when we were losing time and time again, I kept on saying the frustration is, yes, I know we definitely need experience. We definitely need a bit more quality. But there is a backbone of quality young players in there. And it's just getting that bit of confidence. And I feel like if we did have that sprinkling of experience, we would have seen a lot more displays like yesterday against Cardiff. And we wouldn't have seen that 7-game stretch of defeats. That wouldn't have happened, because there's certain games where we were playing well and we probably didn't deserve to lose, but then there are others where, when it is difficult, the experienced players know how to dig their heels in and get out at least a point. And we weren't doing that. We're collapsing. The second shit hits the fan, everyone collapses, and that's what happens with young players sometimes. But they need to grow up, and yesterday it was a very professional performance. Second half, again, I think we just dominated. We were making chances. We did eventually bring in the likes of Hamia, Mundell come on, both of which had very good opportunities. Hamia was put one-on-one with the keeper, and he hit it straight at him. Another one where Mundell, he's done brilliantly well, twisting in and out of his man, and then tried to point in the far corner, and the keeper makes a great save. But it was a very, very positive performance. I know I've seen a lot of people get on Hamia's back, and you can see why when you've got players who aren't putting the ball in the back of the net. But I was really felt for him. I really wanted that ball to the back of the net for Hamia yesterday. Same with Mundell. And Chris Rig, he had a chance one-on-one with the keeper, and he hit it straight at him. So, you can't just pick the lads who you want to give shit to, when things don't quite go right. But all in all, a very, very good performance, and we can enjoy our weekend, guys. I'm very, very happy for the lads, and we need to. We saw Bradley Jack as well for the last couple of minutes. He's had his haircut, which makes me infinitely like him more. But yeah, so it was good to see him back. We had other players on the bench, like Alessi back on the bench as well, which was very nice to see, Evans. So there are players coming back, and it would be nice to just sort of run this end to the season on a high note, on a positive, which it looked like it was impossible just last week. But then we pull out a display like yesterday out of our arse. I don't know where it come from, but either way, guys, that'll be it, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. For me, my man of the match was Jobe. He absolutely run the show. Like I said on social media yesterday, if you don't follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, I do occasionally have a little bit of a ramble on there. But for me, it was so abundantly clear for so long that Job needed a break. And we all saw it, we all said it, and now because it's been forced upon him, he come out yesterday and he absolutely ran the show. He was head and shoulders above everyone. He dominated. Even in the second half, when eventually we did bring strikers on and he dropped into midfield, he controlled it. He was shielding off 2 or 3 Cardiff men at a time, piece of pace, rolling them, and it's so easy for him. He was strutting his stuff and he was dominating, and he looked phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I think it's just one of them where, of course, it's it for us. It's easy to see that he needed a break. He looked knackered, he looked jaded, he looked like he was in a bit of a rut, and sometimes for young players you do need to be brought out of the side for a bit. Equa has been. Equa played outstanding yesterday. Equa was dropped as well for a bit. You have to do it sometimes. Just because they've played good once upon a time, don't mean you need to drill them into the ground and keep playing them until you see those prior performances repeated. Sometimes you need to withdraw them. It's just the way the world works. And I think Joe was just one of those players where, Dodds and coaching staff have probably more than likely said to him, do you need a rest? And Joe's one of those lads, he has an elite mentality, and he's going to say, no, I don't need a rest. So they'll just keep on playing him repeatedly. But he's running himself into the ground, and I think he needs to know himself, which will come in time when he needs a bit of a break. And that's what happens. He gets a break, and then comes back and gives a 10 out of 10 performance for me. Phenomenal. And that we know that player is in there. We just know that when he is running to the ground, he can become anonymous, and he does give those really piss-poor displays, which we have seen. But that is the Joe Bellingham we know we can get, and we know that he can perform to that level. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling on. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, and you're buzzing that Sunderland got 3 points, and you're going to have a brilliant weekend now, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jolly.